The Python Software Foundation appears to be running out of money. They have roughly 6 months of runway remaining, according to their most recent statement. I posted this up over on X just yesterday. I want to read some of this to you now. Last week, we learned that the Python Software Foundation turned down a $1.5 million grant from the U.S. government because Python did not want to adhere to anti-discrimination and anti-DEI regulations and requirements within the United States. So they turned that money down because oh my goodness, they just got to commit to their DEI. Now, according to their 2024 annual report, the Python Software Foundation has been operating at a loss for quite some time, with their deficit last year for 2024 being just shy of $1.5 million. In other words, that grant from the US government could have almost exactly covered their 2024 deficit and put the books for the Python Software Foundation back into the positive. They would have gotten them out of the red, but they turned it down. That is how extreme Python's commitment to promoting discrimination and DEI is that they will literally be willing to go bankrupt rather than stop discriminating against people. I'm just going to show you a little bit of this here. For those of you watching the video, here are the Python Software Foundation, the PSF financials for the fiscal year 2023 through 2024. We don't have the most recent year yet. They kind of lag a bit in their reporting there. But the big thing is you can see there on the bottom left-hand side, the net income for 2024 is negative $1.4 million, 1.462. So if they had taken a $1.5 million grant, that would have helped quite a bit. And they're in dire straits. They're not doing well. Here, let me read a couple of tidbits here. What does this mean? This is from their blog post statement that was released yesterday. Overall, the Python Software Foundation is facing significant financial challenges. That's an understatement. But we are actively monitoring the situation and taking action where we can. This post is our way of raising the flag early. It's kind of not exactly early, but all right. And calling in the community proactively. We currently have more than 6 months of runway, as opposed to our preferred 12-month plus of runway. So the Python Software Foundation is not at immediate risk of having to make more dramatic changes, but we are on track to face difficult decisions if the situation doesn't shift in the next year. Basically means that they're in pretty rough shape. They're kind of painting a bit of a rosy picture on it, putting a good face, if you will. But considering how much money they're spending every year, over $1.5 million more, or roughly $1.5 million more than they actually have. It's not great. It's not great budgeting. The Python Software Foundation has 13 full-time employees. Plus, they put on big events, and these events cost a huge amount of money for them. And they made statements about how normally they like those events to be not only self-sustaining, but produce income and actual revenue, profit. And they haven't been for quite some time. Their events, their PyCon and whatnot, they're costing them more money than they're actually bringing in. So they're not doing in great shape there. I also kind of want to point something out. I took a troll through the Python Software Foundation's annual report from last year, and it reads kind of like a DEI brochure. The words like inclusivity and diversity are repeatedly discussed throughout the entire thing. Just to show you a couple of pictures, the Python Software Foundation, thank you for being the heart and soul of the Python community. Your commitment, your unwavering support, dedication, and commitment to fostering innovation and inclusivity have empowered countless individuals. Like, there's just lots of things like that. We promote connection and diversity and blah, blah, blah within the Python community. Ever larger and more diverse, and they include lots and lots of pictures of as many diverse types of people as they can. Like, that's clearly a marketing message for them, right? It was, it's almost overwhelming how much they push that messaging above and beyond just simple software. But one of the things that really caught my eye here is, as you're going through the Python Software Foundation annual report, there is a very, very prominent picture of a man holding a MacBook with a big old Apple on it. And below the Apple logo on the MacBook is a sticker that reads, "This machine kills fascists." Okay. Now here's the thing. The Python Software Foundation, the individuals within the foundation, the people running the foundation, the head of the foundation, and the commitment to DEI clearly means that we're looking at a very leftist activist organization, right? And I'm not saying that to dog on them. I'm just saying it as what it is, right? This is clearly not a conservative organization, and it's clearly not a politically neutral organization, right? It's a very political organization. Like, politics almost seems to be more important than the software for the Python Software Foundation. And clearly, their politics is more important than simply staying afloat or keeping their books in the positive. And so when they put a phrase in all caps, "This machine kills fascists," inside their annual report, I don't think they're using the dictionary definition of fascist there. Just bear with me on this one. They're clearly using the leftist activist definition of fascism, right? The definition of fascism, where we've seen pretty much everyone who is not an extreme leftist activist. So people who are not political, people who are centrist politically, people who are right-leaning or conservative politically, all of them are getting labeled fascists, right? I've been called a fascist. One developer, DHH and Omarchi is a fascist, and Ladybird's a fascist, and the guy who makes Hyperland's a fascist. Everyone's a fascist, right? And that's clearly the definition they're going with here, because this is their phrasing, this is their terminology, this is how they present themselves to the world. And so what they're really talking about here is killing me and you and all these other people. And they're using that as core messaging, Antifa messaging, inside of their Python Software Foundation annual report. Now, regardless of whether or not you like or hate Antifa, which is designated as a terrorist organization in the United States, the Python Software Foundation likes them. That raises some serious red flags all by itself. But even if you like Antifa, even if you were like, yeah, bash the fash, kill Lunduke, blah, 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 even if you agree with all of that stuff, the messaging that the Python Software Foundation is clearly endorsing and behind here, it's a weird thing to put in the annual report for a programming language foundation, right? It's like, okay, so me personally, I wouldn't put an Antifa sticker on my laptop. I wouldn't do that. But would I put a Make America Great Again sticker on my laptop? I don't know, maybe, right? That'd be more likely to do that. All right. But that would be a weird thing to put in a Python Software Foundation annual report, a Make America Great Again, sticker with a guy wearing a MAGA hat and maybe wearing a Trump t-shirt. Like, that would be a kind of a weird thing to put in a Programming Language Foundation annual report. It doesn't really matter what side of any particular fence you're on. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? That's a strange thing to do. It's bizarre. But I think it just reinforces the clear messaging that the politics here is what is truly important to the Python Software Foundation. Not the language, not staying afloat and not going bankrupt, because clearly they're willing to go ahead and say, you know what, we're gonna give up $1.5 million that would keep us afloat. It's retarded. In order to be able to continue to promote discrimination and DEI. That's a strange bit of virtue signaling, to be quite honest with you. It's just bizarre virtue signaling, and really willing to throw your entire foundation under the bus just so that you can do some virtue signaling. It's really ridiculous. But this is kind of an ongoing pattern with the Python Software Foundation. Last year, and this is just such a bizarre story. I've mentioned it a few times before, but it's worth mentioning again. One of the longest term Python contributors, someone who had been around since the very early days of Python, was put on a 3-month suspension from contributing to Python, communicating on their mailing list, etc., because he had offhandedly mentioned that he thought a specific Saturday Night Live sketch from 40 plus years earlier, 45, maybe even more years earlier, was kind of funny. For real. That's it. He was suspended for that. And the amount of virtue signaling, the amount of discrimination, the amount of silencing and censorship and overactive and weaponized code of conducts and everything else inside of the Python Software Foundation is just off the charts. What does that mean for Python as a language? What does that mean for the projects and the organizations which the Python Software Foundation endorses and contributes to? I don't really know. But this is one of those organizations where as Trump became elected this last January and issued a large number of executive orders and the like, which made it very clear where the government stood in relation to DEI discrimination. When those things happened, we saw a large number of organizations, companies and whatnot, at least take some performative measures to distance themselves from DEI. Python went the opposite approach. They're doubling down. They're like, kill the fascists. And kill the fascists, and we won't do business with the government because we want to discriminate against people and enact more DEI policies. They've gone double down the other direction, the real extreme discrimination direction. So there you have it. That's the way the Python has decided to go. What happens now kind of remains to be seen. Oh, I did want to mention. Do I have? I don't have a picture of it up here. But the Python Software Foundation, last week, when they did their round of virtue signaling, they accompanied it with a fundraiser, right? This was their opportunity to show that there were so many hard leftists out there that were going to applaud their efforts to fight the Trump administration and continue to push discrimination and DEI, because all the leftists really like discrimination. And so they really want to push that, right? And so this was their opportunity to do a fundraiser about it. They made these statements of, oh gosh, we're losing so much money at this, but we're fighting the good fight, pro-discrimination. I mean, that's what DEI is. So please give to the Python Software Foundation. So how did that go? They did get a large number of donations, but a teeny tiny fraction, clearly, of what they hoped to get, and a teeny tiny fraction of what they needed. Did they get the 1.46 some odd million they were in the hole at the end of going on for the end of fiscal year 2024? No, they raised, I don't know, it was like $70,000 or something. Significant, a good chunk of change. A lot of hard leftists contributed. But that was it. That was their shoot for the moon moment, and it kind of fell flat. What they're going to do now, clearly they're in a bit of a panic because they just issued a statement saying, hey, we only have a few months left. We have less than half a year, or roughly half a year of runway left. We need people to donate a ton or we're going to have to start cutting staff. And I think that's the way it's probably going to go. So in the coming months, I expect to hear that the Python Software Foundation will be cutting staff, unless some big company swoops in and starts dropping a couple $1 million on the Python Software Foundation, which would be an extremely strange thing to do, considering why Python is in these dire straits. Thank you to the Lunduke Journal subscribers for making it possible to do the work that I do. If you go to lunduke.com, there's a whole bunch of ways you can subscribe for free and watch and listen and read and interact with the Lunduke Journal, just a ton of different platforms. You can also grab a subscription, monthly, yearly, lifetime. It's truly, truly fantastic. And we had a sale going on last week where it was 50% off all the different subscription types. I've extended it till this coming Friday because it was working out so good. So I'm just like, I'll just let it go. I'll just let it continue. Basically, if you go to lunduke.com, scroll down to the bottom and see if we've got any deals going on. If you're watching this show or listening to this show after November 7th, after that deal is gone, go to lunduke.com, because if we do have any like discounts or sales or anything going on, they'll be listed right there. And you can just click on it right in the how to support the Lunduke Journal section. And then if you become a lifetime subscriber, you can get added to the wall of shame. The wall of please leftist organization don't hire me. These are some of the amazing Lunduke Journal lifetime subscribers who help to make the Lunduke Journal possible. I only add people to this wall if they email me and say, Lunduke, I'm a lifetime subscriber, add me to the wall. I want to be on that wall, baby. Every day I'm getting a couple more emails from long-term lifetime subscribers who are like, all right, I'm in. I can be on that wall. And pretty soon we're going to have to add a second page to that wall because it's filling up here. Either that, I got to make the text really small. But thank you to all the subscribers, monthly, yearly, lifetime, on any platform. You guys are all awesome. I mean, every single one of you is truly fantastic. Enjoy the perks that you get for being a subscriber, the MP4 downloads and the forums and all that sort of thing. But truly, none of this is possible. Nothing related to the Lunduke Journal, none of the coverage, none of it would be possible without all of you. We wouldn't be able to be big tech free. We wouldn't be able to be truly independent without your support. So thank you very much. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare, end broadcast.